Why are we here?
Mm.
We know what needs to happen.
Wow.
We know Des is right, wrong, 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 and he's
Wow.
ruining the church. And we shouldn't spend all this thousands and tens of thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to have all these people come from all around the world to this little junior camp, youth camp in Colorado, when all you have to say is, get Des out of here. I tried the other day to see what was the percentage of scholars versus administrators who were, quote, delegates there.
Mm.
Delegates I guess, is as good a word
Yeah,
as any, Peter.
let's use it.
So I've done this counting twice, and it
Mm.
depends. Is an if the administrator had an advanced degree, does that make him a scholar or not?
Yeah, interesting.
So I went through twice. So the first count was that 56% of the 200 or 100, what was it? What was the total number of people there? 129. Of that total, about 56% by my first count were administrators, church, and these were the hard and dry, really
Mm.
hard-nosed, in a good sense, administrators.
Yeah, but
And
potentially following Neil's guidance.
yeah, yeah, they probably wouldn't want to admit that, but yeah. And then today, I counted again because I thought, well, some of these people whom I might have said were scholars
Mm.
really were more on the administrative end of things.
Yes.
So I recounted, and I ended up with 69% of the people
Interesting.
there as administrators. And so either way, the majority were administrators. The minority were the intellectuals, the scholars, systematic theologians, Old Testament scholars, New Testament scholars. Um, so in some ways, the playing field was already tilted.
Yeah.
Administrators have that concern about preserving the church and preserving the order.
Mm.
The prophets, on the other hand, want to stir
Yeah.
things up. So it was very much tilted toward the administrators. The first night I was there, I roomed with Kenneth Holland, who was the editor of These Times in Nashville. I didn't include him as a scholar. He was more in the administrative end of things. And the other roommate was someone I had never met before, and I'm pretty sure it was Elder E.S. Riley. And I think at that point, I think he had come from Canada, but I think before that, he had been in the Southern Union or something as union president or something. And so here we are in this little room. As I recall, I was on the upper bunk because I was the younger of all of them. I was a little more limber at that point than I am today. And Elder Riley was complaining, why are we spending all this money? And I heard that from other administrators. Why are we here? We
Mm.
know what needs to happen.
Wow.
We know Des is right, wrong, 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 and he's
Wow.
ruining the church. And we shouldn't spend all this thousands and tens of thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to have all these people come from all around the world to this little junior camp, youth camp in Colorado, when all you have to say is, get Des out of here.
Wow, that's a fascinating
Yeah,
observation.
unfortunate. So
Yeah.
the mood, Peter,
Yes.
was
Yeah.
on that
That's
side of
very
things.
interesting. I haven't heard that perspective before. For some reason, I wrongly assumed that it was more a gathering of the scholars and
No,
the theologians.
no. The first day, the pattern was set on our first day. Of course, we got there the night before.
Yeah.
Mornings were spent in breakout sessions, and we were already assigned to different groups. I was assigned to, let's see, I was assigned to a group that was chaired by Elder Wernick, who was at the GC at the time.
Sorry, your voice cut out there, Elder.
Wernick,
Right.
I don't know if you are acquainted with him or not.
No.
And and the assistant chair, or whatever you want to call it, for convener or whatever for this little breakout group, was Elder C.D. Henry, again from the General Conference. And there were seven groups, seven groups. And here we are in this little room. How many of us were there? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, about 16 of us,
Right.
give or take, in this little room, group 7. Well, Elder Wernick was a day late, so Elder Henry was chairing this little session on our first day. And as I recall, the first thing out of Elder Henry's mouth, and I always appreciated him, the first thing out of his mouth was, "Well, folks, we know why we're here. We're here to defend the faith." That was it.
Wow. And get rid of Des.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Appreciate these insights. So did you then kind of have some conversations with people that were more on the same page as you after these meetings? Did you kind of gather together over by the bubbler and say, "Man, what did you think about that?"
Actually, you're right on, Peter. After dinner, the noon meal, there was about an hour between when we were done eating and when the afternoon session was going to meet, the plenary session. And a group of us, and I don't remember how many or even who they were, but there was a small group of us that would meet in one of the dorm rooms or lodge rooms or whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
And the topic was, okay, what happened this morning in your group?
Yeah.
What did you discuss? What was the attitude? Is there anything that we can do on the floor this afternoon in the plenary session to help steer things in a different direction? Clearly, these were not administrators. These were more the scholars, and how I was invited, I'll never know. But I was part of the group.
You had a prestigious job description.
I guess. And so it was very interesting, and we met every day. Every
Wow.
day after we ate, we would meet in this room. Only once, I think, did we invite Des to be with us. We wanted to do this totally independent of his influence. So if anybody ever asked or whatever, hey, Des had nothing to do with it. He didn't organize it. He was totally ignorant of what we were doing. We did call him in one time, and I don't remember all the details of that. But anyway, this was getting on down toward the end of our week there. We were sitting there talking about what we had discussed that morning, and in walked Jack Provencha. And Jack said, folks, I'm paraphrasing, of course, I just got back from talking to Elder Wilson, Elder Palmenter, and Des. And I think this afternoon in our meeting, I can bring these three people together and we can come to an amiable conclusion. Wow. Well, of course, with this little group, we always had prayer, but we sure had an earnest one after Jack left that day. So that afternoon, when it came discussion time, Jack raised his hand and Neil Wilson gave him the floor. And of course, some of us knew exactly what was going to happen, and we're there praying our little hearts out. And Jack said, you know, I'm a physician. My whole life has been spent trying to bring healing to people. And I would like to help bring healing to people here today. And he was pretty sure that he had the agreement from Wilson and Parmenter as well as Des that they would all agree, that they would lay the cudgels down, they would not, Des wouldn't, you know, run around emphasizing certain hot topics, etc. And so after his little speech, Jack turned to Neil Wilson and said, now, Elder Wilson, if we can get you, Elder Parmenter and Dr. Ford to agree here that, you know, Des will not agitate some of these issues. We aren't saying they're right or wrong. We're just saying, you know, we'll let them sleep for a while anyway. Would you be willing to whatever? And he was sure he had Neil's okay to say yes. Instead, he said no.
There, publicly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that ended it. That ended it. It was quite dramatic, quite dramatic. Another time in this plenary session in the afternoon, Des had read a paper. I think it was something on Hebrews 9 and where did Jesus go on his ascension? Was it the holy place or the most holy place? And what does it say in Hebrews 9? And he had picked this up, the concept up in a class at the seminary taught by Edward Heppenstall. And it just so happened that I also had taken that same class years later from Dr. Heppenstall. And at this plenary session, Dr. Heppenstall was across the aisle from me, and I think it was like one row up or one row back. And so Des had made his point that according to the book of Hebrews, Jesus entered the presence of God. So that was the most holy place.
Mm.
And he turned and looked at Dr. Heppenstall, who had clued him in years before on this at the class, and said, isn't that right, Dr. Heppenstall? And Dr. Heppenstall, who was always a very combative professor in the classroom, said nothing. Or if he said something, it was nothing that would have supported what he had taught in the class. And poor Des, you know, there went the air out of his tires on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, there's some defining moments that you're putting a spotlight on for us today.